Welcome to Guanajuato. I have arrived after an extended recovery time in Guadalajara. Generally feeling okay, so time to get moving and see what's next. So we arrived here last night, and I just took it easy last night, get sorted at my hotel and all that sort of stuff. And we're here for 2 full days to explore the city, check out all the history and the highlights, and as well as some of the museums, including the one I'm most excited for, which is the Mummy Museum. Guanajuato is very famous as a tourist destination and sort of as a beautiful city in the hills. It's surrounded by mountains all the way around, and even the city itself expands up into those mountains as well. So while we're here in Guanajuato, we're going to take a walk around the main downtown area, check out some of the sites and some of the museums. There's a lot of history here for arts and culture. We'll see what the historic city of Guanajuato is all about. So let's get going. So we're just standing outside the university here in Guanajuato. Quite a famous building, built in 1955, it says on the placard there. And as you can see, it's got quite the impressive entryway. A lot of steps first thing in the morning to go to school. So we've just come to the Museum of Contemporary Art here in Guanajuato, and basically it's a showcase of some of the local artists of the area, and it's in a very beautiful old building here, which we'll see as we walk through. And in this first section, it's a collection of art by Teresa Pomar, who looked like she worked primarily in miniature, which is pretty cool because it takes some impressively steady hands to do that. Some more examples here of some of the miniature art that was done. So I've just come up to the second floor here, and I was directed into this room where the large mural exists on the wall here, and I've been here for about 5 minutes already, just mesmerized by this mural, and I don't think it really needs too much of an explanation if you look at the painting. This is the second large-scale mural now that I've seen recently, including the one in La Paz that dealt with the conflict between, traditional historical Mexico and the arrival of the Spanish and the religious aspects, and how it really did some serious and probably permanent damage to a lot of Mexican culture throughout the country, not just here. This museum is nice, it's a beautiful spot. It was 30 pesos to get in at the front door. There's the ticket, and there's nobody here. I'm, I think, the only person walking around here at the moment. That contemporary art museum was pretty cool. It was a nice little spot there, very quiet. There was a whole upstairs section that I didn't get to film because they asked me not to, but was primarily focused on anonymous works from the area over the last couple hundred years. A lot of it was focused on religious style paintings, but still very cool to see. And for 30 pesos, it's definitely worth checking out. I'm here on a Saturday afternoon, and I was one of like 2 people inside. So if you want a quiet space here in Guanajuato to kind of duck in off the street and have a look at something, that would definitely be the place to do it. So our next stop is going to be the Museum of Diego Rivera, which is a world-renowned artist and actually ended up marrying Frida Kahlo, and they were together for many years. And this was his home here in Guanajuato, and yeah, the whole house has been converted into a museum. Intrigued to go check this out, so let's wander on over and see what it's like. One of the unique features here in Guanajuato that I haven't seen in a lot of other places is that much of the auto traffic, car traffic, it actually goes through these underground tunnels. It actually ends up keeping most of the cars off the streets, which is good because, as you can see, the streets are pretty narrow and old cobblestone streets. Let's keep going this way. Just dipped into the edge of one of these tunnels here for a second. So the sign here says it was 1982 was constructed. But yeah, you can certainly see how they'd be required for such a small hilly city and not a lot of room for, you know, drivable roads. So we're inside the museum here of Diego Rivera. So according to the information, this is the original home of Diego Rivera here in Guanajuato. So the first floor here was all sort of, you know, recreation of the original home where Diego Rivera was born and raised until he moved to Mexico City. And the next series of floors above this are different collections of artwork. He mentioned at the front that one of them was in the process of being moved around, so it was closed. And some I may not be able to photograph, so we'll just kind of see how that goes.
Ahorita, 3:15.
I guess I got here on an interesting day. It's a cross between old and new here today. The historical center of the town here in the backdrop with the Red Bull race. I didn't come all this way to watch a Red Bull race, so I'm going to continue on my way here and head over to the local market. Just a couple of final thoughts about the Diego Rivera Museum, Art Museum. It was really impressive inside. You weren't allowed to take any, they were very strict on no photos, no videos of the artwork itself, which is fine. And, but yeah, what I saw inside I can highly recommend because it was totally worth going to see. And it was only 30 pesos to get in again, so it's a no-brainer for that price to see, you know, one of the most famous artists in Mexican history. You know, both his place of birth and now the museum that has a lot of his original artwork in it. So we're just down here on the main road now and heading over to the market, which is in this rather large building here up on the right. So we're just about to make our way over into the market. And one of the interesting little footnotes about this place is that the clock tower up top is the second time now that I've run into something designed by Gustave Eiffel, because he designed the clock tower that was here. This was originally designed to be a train station here for Guanajuato, but the train line never materialized. Let's go over and take a look, see what we can find. maybe today I'll find the backpack patch that I've been searching for on my trip now for 6+ weeks, whatever it's been. And anyway, let's go take a walk inside and see what we can find. There's a whole second floor to it as well, so let's have a little walk around here and see if we can find anything of interest. Looks to be all food stalls down here, which I don't need after just eating.
Por eso es que en este mundo la vida
Almost. Lots of patches except for the one I'm looking for, Flag of Mexico. Well, that's the closest I've come to patches so far for my backpack. Unfortunately, it was lots of American rock and roll bands, some luchador masks, and a few other things, but no Flag of Mexico, oddly enough. Anyway, we're going to keep on. I've got 2 more stops here on my little tour of the downtown part of Guanajuato today. So I didn't find much at the market. I did find some postcards, which is good. Yeah, I just thought I'd take a stop and a little walk up in this park here for a minute. And for the second time on my trip, I've also run into Mahatma Gandhi. And it's weird that both Gandhi and Eiffel bumped into twice, but both were in the same city each time. So after a little break in the park here and a stop for a iced coffee, from here let's head on over to the most famous street in all of Guanajuato. And if you know anything about the place, you'll already know where I'm headed. So this is the Callejón del Beso, which is known as the Street of Kisses. And the reason it's called that is because this little street is only about shoulder width. And where it's only shoulder width, that means that you could reach out and potentially kiss across the buildings from one side to the other. My understanding is that there's a legend about it as well, where 2 families, see if this story sounds familiar, where 2 families wouldn't allow the son and daughter to date, but they lived across from each other on this street and would sneak kisses in the night. And it sounds like Romeo and Juliet, you're right. Very similar. Anyway, we're gonna take a walk on up, even though I have nobody to kiss. My shoulders are touching on both sides at the moment. And that's it. It's actually kind of ironic that there's very few windows to kiss out of between the 2 sides, but well, I guess I got a little bit of the Red Bull bike race after all. We are on our way to our last stop of the day. I think it's all downhill. One thing I would recommend if you do come here and, you know, you're not the biggest fan of hills like me, start over at the Juarez Theater near the two big churches that are here, and then kind of follow a similar path that I did through town, and you'll end up with a mostly downhill walk the whole way. And you still hit all the key things and all the key places along the way. When you do come here, you'll see a lot of these underground tunnels and stuff. These actually lead down to the car tunnels, because you can use them as well to access different parts of the city. That ride up the funicular is something else. For 35 pesos, you better bet your butt that if you come to Guanajuato, you go up that funicular, because that was wicked. What a beautiful view of the city. So now that we're at the top, we're going to go visit the statue that we saw earlier today. That's right at the top of these stairs.
Bueno, entonces.
Que me habla de ti.